Well, they played really good defense in that one.
They absolutely did play great defense, and of course we talk about Baycott chasing Jordan. That would be to enter the top 15 in scoring for the University of North Carolina, which of course has produced 81 1,000-point scorers.
Yeah, that's it.
That's all.
A lot of history there. Speaking of history, FSU with some kind of come-from-behind win against, of all people, Miami. A lot of people will tell you the best team in the league. They were 25 down, came back, and as you said, Matthew Cleveland hit that shot, trying to get a quick strike here, but Worley can't get it to go. And
Florida State got the exact action that they wanted. Worley unable to handle the lob, but great execution to start the game.
North Carolina holding Virginia under 40% on Saturday, so their D really did the deed. Love gives it up for Davis, coming off a really nice game, 16 points and 10 rebounds. He's had a few more double-doubles than people think.
Absolutely. You think about the point guard going out and getting double-doubles with rebounds and get a chance to look at the starting lineups for Florida State.
Tonight's lineup brought to you by CDW. That includes Cleveland Yates to start, a senior, not for very long.
And Cleveland Yates getting more minutes than I was expecting early. Caleb Mills already at the scores table, but of course Cleveland Yates has gotten a minute under his belt early.
And Caleb typically 13 points a game. And the North Carolina starting five brought to you by CDW. Leaky Black in there at 6'9", Pete Nance at 6'11". Well, we say 6'9". I know you were giving him the business earlier today. You guys have a relationship, so you can do that.
We can do that. And again, you know, I will allow the program height to say 6'9". I won't call him out anymore as if I haven't done it enough.
Love, and that didn't touch anything. It does get back inside, and the block and a foul will go against Matthew Cleveland.
Offensive rebounding, that is one of the strengths of North Carolina. Of course, Armando Baycott leads the ACC in offensive rebounds, over 4 per game. But one of the weaknesses of this Florida State team, something that the Seminoles are going to have to take care of their defensive board in this game.
Leaky, of course, always a superb defender. This season, no different, as he drops in number 1. Tough season for Hubert Davis, but people have been talking about this for, about a week, 2 weeks. It bears a lot of resemblance to last year around the same time when they played their way into the NCAA tournament.
But Hubert made it very clear to us early today that regardless as to what has happened, he's proud of his team and the way that these young men have developed throughout this season, not just because of their win on Saturday, but what they've done all season long.
Now for FSU, a win for the ages against Miami Saturday, 85-84 on Matthew Cleveland's buzzer beater. That was the biggest comeback in the history of the ACC. The jumper is going to be in and out.
And actually, when you think about these two teams matching up, the largest comeback in the history of ACC basketball was between Florida State and North Carolina until that win for the Seminoles on Saturday.
Baycott working, high off the window, but no, a scramble for it, comes back out for Nance, and he'll stick it from three-point land. He's coming off 22 against Virginia.
And Pete Nance picking up where he left off in the first half on Saturday. He was 4 for 4 from beyond the three-point arc, didn't take a three-point shot in the second half.
Off the fake, Mills to drive it with the left hand. Oh, that's a pretty play.
Nice pump fake by Caleb Mills to get Caleb Love off of his feet, and of course the C parted for him to be able to get to the rim with an easy finish. Getting
back to Pete Nance, I mean, there have been critics of his play this year that more was expected of the transfer, but lately he is starting to really play, isn't he?
And all that criticism comes because Brady Manick was so big for Carolina last year. Speaking of big for Carolina, Leaky Black in that corner. He is a very good corner shooter. Of course, most teams know that, so he doesn't get as many opportunities, but North Carolina off to a great start beyond the arc.
Mills on hesitation, but going to be a whistle before any shot attempts. Leonard Hamilton, head coach for FSU. Highly complimentary of the Miami team his Seminoles rallied to defeat over the weekend. But it has been a lost year for the Seminoles at 9 and 27-11 in the ACC.
But I can appreciate the way the Seminoles continue to battle. I mean, again, 7 ACC wins. They only have 9 overall wins on the season. This team has gotten better as ACC play has gone along and playing against better competition.
Yeah, they got off to a dreadful start, knocked down by Worley. Jalen Worley, the sophomore out of Pennsylvania, who recently lit up Pitt for 23. Nance up top for Baycott. Armando gives up the dribble. Here's Davis. Wanted that lane and knocked away from him. Right into a fast break. Mills, oh, the stuff. He's a one-man fast break.
Caleb Mills recognizing Leaky Black, trailing that play. You have to dunk that. You lay it up as getting blocked. Caleb Mills with a strong finish, and he's been great since coming off the bench.
So 1-point game early. Baycott again. He's working on the 7-4 Naheem McLeod. Love will drive it and gets the scoop. Love averaging 17 a game. You remember how good he was in the NCAA tournament last year. Throughout the tournament averaging 19. The 7-footer blocked by Black. He got up there. Man, did he cover some ground.
You remember when I just said layups get blocked, you better dunk it. Naheem McLeod, the 7-footer, you better dunk it.
And McLeod on the other end returns the favor.
Armando Baycott, you better dunk it.
Goes no off the back of the iron. One and done for the Seminoles. Yeah, we have some shot blockers on the floor. That's usually the case when you play Florida State, regardless of their record at the time. And Davis will set it up. About 15 to go here in the first half. Shot clock at 8. That's tipped by FSU. Nance goes for it. Shot clock's at 4. Got to get it in the air, and that'll rattle home by Caleb Love.
Caleb Love, just a quick glimpse over to the bench where he finds his former teammate, Cameron Fletcher, who was out injured for Florida State after tearing his ACL. Those two guys were AAU teammates.
And it's been a big part of the narrative for Leonard this season. Injuries, along with players who did not return to the program. He admits caught him by surprise a little bit. Cleveland will draw the foul. After Cleveland having a very solid individual year for the Noles.
I believe that's going to be the second foul on Armando Baycott, but Caleb Love off to a great start. The nice decision to find Leaky Black in the corner, whose three is good, but on the other end of the floor, speaking of great decisions, Caleb Mills' decision to dunk it was the right one.
50% as a team at the 3 for 5 out of the gate, and they lead at 12-6. Time to bring in Angel Gray. Angel, both sides have something to play for. Going to be interesting to see how they get there tonight.
Absolutely, OB. Well, veteran experience a huge factor coming into this one for this very reason. UNC has not won in this building since 2016. So you have the Tar Heels who are not only playing with a different level of desperation, they're playing with more experience. So Coach Ham's trusting to his team, not only playing with that energy and effort, but on both sides, despite what their records may be. Coach Hubert Davis saying the exact same thing. We were in their shoot-around earlier. He said, listen, attention to detail and sharpness. Corey, I ask you, how are both teams doing at this point?
I believe both teams have gotten off to a great start with everything that their coaches were preaching in their shoot-arounds this morning, Angel. But the attention to detail, and Hubert Davis almost had his guys running lines this morning. He was on them, making sure they understood the importance of this game and stepping up at the most important moments. Again, they can't look ahead to Duke on Saturday. They've got to take care of business here tonight.
And there's another level, as you said, eyes on it, because they're a bunch of NBA scouts. How many did you say are here?
15 NBA scouts in the building. And many of them here, of course, to see Baba Miller from Florida State. But Leaky Black has become very intriguing to many of the NBA scouts. His defensive ability and his ability to knock down corner threes, and listed at 6'9", which of course you know how I feel about that, but still has great positional size as a 3-and-D guy. He's starting to become very interesting to many NBA personnel.
Baba Miller, we had a quick shot there, 6'11" freshman from Spain. Went from 6'2" at the age of 14 to 6'11" at 18, his age now. Turn around in the paint, and Cleveland, who's very active with the basketball, draws another foul. So he rises up, just as we say, 6'11" from 6'2" in a heartbeat.
Yeah, you get an opportunity to look at Baba Miller, who came over and introduced himself to us earlier today. Great chance to talk to him, and very polite young man. I know Leonard Hamilton, of course, would love to see him stick around for another season at Florida State, but one thing that Coach Ham would not be is surprised by anyone leaving the program at this point.
Yes, unfortunately, he's talked about that lately. You know, maybe a couple times being caught by surprise. Not that he didn't have discussions with a handful of players, but didn't really think they were ready to go yet to the NBA.
Well, if you look at this roster, there are 4 guys from last year's team alone that could be on this roster and would have made a complete difference for this Florida State team a season ago. And you think about the 4 returners for North Carolina, when you, of course, Leaky Black, Armando Bacot, RJ Davis, and Caleb Love from a national championship runner-up team a year ago. There's a completely different level when you add the 5th COVID year in now to guys that can come back and be a part of your program.
Absolutely. So Carolina with it. Shot clock to 7. It's up top. Davis off the fake, heaves it. That won't touch a thing. And it's a shot clock violation.
Hubert Davis a little concerned about his offense on the last few possessions. Of course, Bacot on the bench with those 2 fouls. Things have slowed down a bit offensively for the Tar Heels.
Cleveland with a pop, no. Individually, he's having a nice year. 14 points, 8 rebounds a game. When a team has struggled as mightily as the Noles, you know, no one notices. Little turnover.
Cleveland's also dealt with a couple injury issues and missed some games throughout the season, but he's definitely one of those guys that's intriguing as well.
Coming up next on ESPN, we take it to Gallagher-Iba Arena in Stillwater. It's number 9 Baylor squaring off against Oklahoma State. Baylor coming off an impressive victory at home against Texas over the weekend. Under 13 here in the first half at Tallahassee. Not to rub it in, but it's about 78 degrees. Wherever you may be.
There's someone out there thinking that that may be rubbing it in, by the way.
Yes, I'm sure. More than one. Taking a tumble, and that one's going to roll out of play. North Carolina with the turnover.
But give Florida State a lot of credit. They've locked in defensively over these last few possessions and really stalled North Carolina, unable to get really much of anything going on the offensive end of the floor. Back-to-back turnovers for the Heels.
Jackson, he'll throw that away. So a bunch of turnovers for both sides suddenly.
And that's where you just have to know your personnel. Recognize that's Leaky Black over there guarding that guy. We don't want it to be risky around Leaky Black.
Love slicing in. And another turnover. Davis looked like he just wasn't ready for the pass.
A great decision by Caleb Love to find the corner. And RJ Davis, of course, at times can be a knockdown shooter, just taking his eye off the ball. That's almost like a ground ball going through, of course, the 5-hole on a second baseman, not getting low enough to pick that one up. A little baseball reference.
Got to go down, stay down. That's right. 11:50 to go in the first. Here's Cleveland. 6'7" sophomore from Atlanta. Hills will kick it. The shot swished in by Jackson. Former Mr. Basketball out of the state of Tennessee.
Yeah, Chandler Jackson, back-to-back career-high 10-point games his last 2 games, starting to find his role with Leonard Hamilton coming off the bench as that backup point guard.
So dead even at 12. Swung for Nance. He's left open. He can't answer. And it'll be tapped out. Will stay on this end. 11:14 to go in the half. I'm talking about the coach, Leonard Hamilton.
In 1974, by becoming an assistant and eventually an associate head coach at the University of Kentucky under Joe B. Hall, making him also the first black coach in the SEC. Corey, I know earlier we were able to talk to Coach Ham. How amazing was it to just revisit how his trips to UT Martin and Austin Peay set him up to experience that first for him?
Well, Angel, of course, it's always a treat when you get an opportunity to hang out with Coach Ham, and he's in the record books for a number of reasons. Hamilton's 56 wins as an unranked team over ranked teams, as a head coach, as an NCAA record, as well as 13 consecutive overtime wins. But Obi, to me, Leonard Hamilton was part of the reason for one of the best ever chants from a crowd. During his time at Austin Peay, he recruited, of course, Fly Williams, who ended up becoming a great basketball player, led NCAA in scoring. But there was a chant at Austin Peay that simply said, "Fly is open, let's go P." You have to love that. Coach Ham is squarely behind all this. Mentioned it to him today, he just smiled ear to ear.
Remember it very fondly, I guess. Another one thrown away here. Carolina with a bunch of turnovers. Despite a couple of good passes, they've not been ready.
Yeah, 6 turnovers already, and Florida State's already scored 6 points off of those turnovers. One of the things that Virginia did not take advantage of against North Carolina on Saturday.
Davis for Black. Davis will launch and hit. Nothing but net on a triple.
Hubert Davis right now, I'm sure, telling his team, hey guys, let's just make sure we get a shot, give ourselves a chance. And that broke what was over a 4-minute long scoring drought for North Carolina. They had been stuck on 12 for quite a while.
Here's Jackson, freshman from Memphis, on a hard drive, and it's blocked. North Carolina in transition, trying to turn it into points. Love is going to palm that one, and a turnover.
Interesting to see if he touched that basketball, because the Hezzy looked really nice, but the turnovers for North Carolina leading to points on the other end of the floor for Florida State. And some of the turnovers for North Carolina, just careless turnovers, not handling the basketball, not catching the basketball cleanly, thinking about something else before they actually got their hands on the ball.
There's 6 turnovers in less than 5 minutes in this stretch. Been kind of ugly. 10 to shoot now for the Noles. Caleb Mills on a penetration and some body. Love gets hit for the foul.
Caleb Mills has been aggressive since checking into the game. Did not start with this being senior night. Cleveland Yates getting the nod early. But since coming into the game, Caleb Mills has been aggressively attacking, trying to get downhill, and of course getting to the free throw line, where he's been great his entire career.
A really good 84%. The junior from Arden, North Carolina. And another one coming. Talking turnovers, a variety of those.
Yeah, not all turnovers are created equal. And of course, R.J. Davis takes his eyes off the basketball, but had more to do with the reaction on the Florida State bench. I see what had happened was.
Yeah, I love that explanation.
That's the only explanation you can have for that.
15-14 Carolina. Pressure here from the Noles, but Love will bring it up for North Carolina, looking to win their 19th game of the season here tonight. They won back-to-back games, beat Notre Dame and top 10 Virginia, which is their first quad one victory of the entire season. Back outside, Styles lets fly and knocks it down.
Dontrez Styles stepping up, knocking down the 3. North Carolina's been good from beyond the arc here in this first half, similar to the way they were against Virginia Saturday.
Down the lane, that's going to be a traveling violation, obviously, on Miller. Now, a glance at the Carolina resume. Joe Lunardi's been talking about him a lot, gets a lot of questions about them. Lunardi saying right now the first 4 out includes North Carolina. What do you think? They win tonight. If they knock off Duke, and a whistle off the ball here, and that foul will go against Cameron Corrin. Do you think they have to win a game or more in the ACC tournament to get into the big dance?
Yes. In order to get an at-large bid, if they don't win the ACC tournament, I believe they have to win, of course, this evening. They have to beat Duke, and they have to win 1 or 2 games in the ACC tournament, probably getting to the semifinal round to make sure that they're on firm ground in solid footing getting into the NCAA tournament.
They kick it over again. Here's Green. Can't hit the three. North Carolina shooting themselves in the foot over and over.
Yeah, North Carolina's operated well off, but then when they're getting shots at the rim, the problem happens when they don't get the shots at the rim as R.J. Davis gets downhill and gets a bucket. When they're not turning the basketball over, they're shooting the basketball pretty well. 7 for 13 for 53.8%.
And leading at 20-14. Jalen Worley slamming on the brakes. Up top, and the long one's going to be swished in by Green.
Nice response from Deontay Green, stepping up and knocking down the jumper. And this is one of the maturity areas for Florida State. A number of guys that Leonard Hamilton had no thoughts of playing this year have had to step in and play roles. Many of those guys freshmen, but they're starting to grow up. At this point of the year, you say the freshmen are no longer freshmen anymore.
Davis got a pretty good look. Can't connect on the triple. Cleveland outside the three, directing some traffic. Here's Worley. In the lane, off the back iron. See if North Carolina can do a better job hanging on to the basketball here. Love will be quick with it. Cleveland with a pull-up. Yes, sir.
That's improvement for Matthew Cleveland. Didn't come to Florida State known as a guy that shot the basketball really well. Has improved on his jump shot. One of the reasons why many scouts are interested in him as well. They recognize the work that he's put in.
Last year's 6th man of the year down the lane. That'll get to Nance. Nance with a misfire. Florida State with an opportunity to take the lead, but they throw it away. Picked off by Seth Trimble. Trimble down the paint, and a whistle out of Kip Kissinger.
R.J. Davis starting to get it going for North Carolina on the offensive end of the floor. Played with tape on his hand the majority of January and February. The tape is off, but the bucket is.
Season a big one. NC State at Cameron Indoor taking on Duke at 7 Eastern. Then number 3 Kansas. They won 6 straight, leading Texas right now by a game in the Big 12. They take on Texas Tech at Allen Fieldhouse. Both games on ESPN and the app.
That's a big game at Cameron. NC State coming in will, of course, beat the Blue Devils earlier this year at PNC. Duke looking for some get back, and I believe that will have a lot to determine who is the 5th seed in the ACC tournament between those two teams. Coming up as we look at our bracketology by Joey Brackets right now, you've got 5 teams from the ACC firmly in the field and 2 on the bubble with North Carolina and Clemson.
Love off the fake after a couple of foul shot misses. Nance from the corner got it with a 3-pointer.
Pete Nance continues to shoot a hot basketball. 2 of 3 from beyond the arc in this first half.
So forget about the 2 free throws. Take the triple.
Yeah, exactly. Armando Bacot back in the game with those 2 fouls. Be interesting to see how Hubert Davis looks to get him involved on the offensive end of the floor.
Armando, the 6-time ACC Player of the Week.
You see right now trying to go to him. I give Deontay Green a lot of credit denying.
Love on target. He scuffled all year from 3-point territory, 31%, but that was on the money.
But when he's taking good shots, he's a good shooter. Caleb Love has shot 40% from 3 over his last 9 games. Shooting the basketball well when he doesn't have to take shots off balance.
Here's Cleveland, too strong. Followed his own miss, though. He stayed with it. Leaning into it, Green, but no. Averaging about 14 a game, the transfer from UCF. Black Left open. He says why not for a three-pointer.
And I'm wondering why he thought about it. Caleb Love did the work. He created the open opportunity for Leaky Black. Leaky Black thought about it. We talked about him being a great corner shooter, but you find him on the wing. It's the same distance in college basketball. Let it fly. Carolina building a 10-point lead on the road here at the Tuck.
In that Notre Dame game in the second half, he found a connection with Armando Bacot. In that Notre Dame game, the Tar Heels had 0 assists in the first half. In the second, Pete Nance had 5 alone to Armando Bacot. Pete Nance also had 4 threes in that previous game against Virginia. For them, he's been that person that's been able to stretch the floor.
He absolutely has been that. Of course, Pete Nance coming back after missing games due to soreness in his lower back has really bolstered the offense for North Carolina. But right now, they're 8 of 13 from beyond the arc here in this first half. And when they shoot the basketball like this, they're difficult to beat.
Going airborne and a very, very tough play and an offensive foul there on Seth Trimble. But North Carolina does not live and die on the three, but they've already hit 8 of them in this game.
And what I love to see after this play, now again, I understand the rules. I personally think even though you get the offensive foul, that basket should count, but I'll take that up with the rules committee later. But Caleb Love going right in and helps Seth Trimble up and lets him know Pete Nance was open and on the opposite side of the floor. So when you get in there, keep your eyes up looking for your teammates beyond the arc.
Carolina opening up a 10-point lead. Mills trying to get close, can't do it. Matthew Cleveland on Bacot, who stays with him and harassed him into a bad shot. Love on the breakout, and he'll draw the foul as he's fouled by Jalen Worley, trying to deny an easy basket. Moving along here in the first half, Carolina's up by 10.
Second chance points. That's the way they need to play. That's the formula to play yourself in the NCAA tournament.
We'll be back to you.
Carolina leading it here after the foul shot by Love, 30-19, and they're on a 10-0 run here. So threatening to end this first half on a big uptick. Meanwhile, FSU won for their last 7 shooting it.
Well, and that's been the difference for this North Carolina team, really, when you think about what they were able to do at Notre Dame, of course, Saturday against Virginia. They have been better defensively. We're not going to call them a great defensive team, but they have locked in, paid more attention to the scouting report, and given more effort on the defensive end of the floor.
Black to make a move here on Cleveland. Nance again, likes that corner shot. Cleveland wants to really push the tempo in a blink of an eye. That's going to be a stop on the play and a whistle as well. McLeod practically on the rim anyway with his size.
But McLeod does the right thing in gathering and going up and dunking the basketball. We saw him try to lay it up earlier and it got blocked. This time, McLeod really boxing out Jalen Washington, even though he's on offense, picking up the offensive rebound to finish. And not a long way to drop when you're 7'4", hanging on the rim.
His mom is 5'5". His dad's 7'5".
Yeah, so Naheem's a little fella in the family.
He's junior.
He's got a twin sister that's 6'6" as well. So, you know, but when your dad's 7'5" and you're only 7'4", then you're the little guy.
Yes. Fouled by Caleb Mills. 2:56 to go in half. Let's take a look at how far he actually had to come down.
Oh, great angle right here. Of course, you get an opportunity to see where his feet are. And again, hanging on the rim, what do you got, 2-3 inches right there from his toes to the hardwood?
Yep. Caleb Love, the junior, sinking #1. And Caleb Love, I think you have to give him credit where credit is due here lately. He's taking better shots, doing a better job of the basketball.
And he's distributing the basketball. They don't always end up in assists, but he's attacking, getting downhill, and putting pressure on the defense, not just settling from beyond the perimeter.
11 first half points for him. Seminoles with the basketball in front of 15 NBA scouts here tonight. Mills penetrates, scoops, and it rolls in.
Caleb Mills continues to get to the basket. He's shown his aggressiveness throughout this first half. Here's another one of the young men that the scouts are here to watch. Jalen Washington, number 13.
Davis bangs in a three.
And the 9th three-point field goal made for North Carolina, 9 of 15. They were 9 of 16 in the first half against Virginia. Hubert Davis has found something in the first half for his team. Now he's going to try to see if he can get to carry over in the second half.
All of a sudden it's become a big weapon for the Tar Heels, and a foul here with 2:05 to go in the half.
And we're talking about a team that for the season coming in right now shooting 30.4% for the game. As R.J. Davis is able to knock down the three off the move, the dribble handoff for Washington. The 30.4% would tie the 2020 team with the worst three-point field goal percentage in North Carolina history. That is up from 29.9, which it was on Saturday going into that game. And now 9 of 15 here in this first half, I believe, will help raise that as well.
Right. Washington with the foul. So 2 minutes before halftime, a couple of times it looked like the Tar Heels were just going to get up and go and take FSU out, but the Seminoles came charging back. Davis catches, fires. He's hot. Another three for R.J. Davis.
And 10 three-point field goals made for North Carolina. They average 8.6 threes made in wins. The 18 wins this season. They've already eclipsed that here in the first half.
Mills can't get it to go off the window, and there is a foul underneath with 1:29 to play in the half. A Wednesday in the association. Our doubleheader starts in Boston. Jason Tatum and the Eastern Conference leading Celtics hosting the Cavs at 7:30. And it's off to the Rose City. Blazers hosting Brandon Ingram and Pelicans. Coverage tipping off with NBA Countdown at 7.
And you see that Portland at the bottom. Dame Dollar, 71 points last night. 13 threes made, which is one off Klay Thompson's NBA record. 14 three-point field goals made in the game. 71. A true field goal percentage of 80%.
Remarkable.
He just had the most efficient 60-point game in the history of the league. And I believe that might have been the most efficient 70-point game last night.
Davis is feeling it. Trying to split two defenders. Cleveland reaching in. R.J. Davis right now just smoking as Cleveland collects the personal. And will send him to the line. Davis, outstanding foul shooter, leading the conference 87%. In a game recently at NC State. Actually was at the Smith Center, but against NC State went 14 for 14.
I'm just waiting to see the result after all that. Oh, look at that. He's too good. He's too good for the announcer jinx.
I was holding my breath too. I really was. Because you know exactly where that's going. And deservedly so. I mean, you should always wait and say after the fact, you know what? He never misses.
He's that good. 88% leads the ACC coming into this game. Continues to be dynamic from the free throw line as North Carolina, who leads the ACC in free throw attempts and makes at 17 attempts to 23. I'm sorry, 17 makes at 23 attempts per game.
Those pass never got there. Knocked away. Good job by Davis. He hit the deck, kept it alive.
Great effort by R.J. Davis on the defensive end of the floor.
Love, another one from three-point land where Carolina can't miss tonight.
And someone behind us just said, oh no. And again, we've heard that at times in Chapel Hill where their fans have said, oh no, don't shoot another three. But not here in Florida State. The fans here do not want the Heels taking more threes.
Hill slapped away, and it's going to be off of FSU. Another good defensive play by Davis.
Well, if you're Caleb, you have to love these opportunities to be able to pull up on the break. Excited for the way your team is playing. And I believe he and R.J. Davis really have played very solid basketball with the basketball in their hands, making the right decisions and taking good shots in this game. Of course, it never hurts when the threes are falling.
North Carolina's hit 13 field goals, 11 are three-pointers so far.
sharing the basketball, continuing to be in attack mode, getting downhill, and also has the ability to score it on his own. His decision-making has been good throughout this game. Of course, that one Deontay Green is wondering, what happened on that play?
But backcourt for the Heels has been nothing short of sensational.
They've been great throughout this game. Caleb Love with 14 first-half points. R.J. Davis with 13 first-half points, 27 points combined. Those two guys have scored more than Florida State here in this first half.
Of course, Florida State fans are saying, wait a minute, we've got them exactly where we want them. After coming from behind to stun Miami down 25 on Saturday and won it on a three-pointer by Cleveland at the buzzer. 43-25, North Carolina going to bleed the clock down. See if Davis gets another shot in the air. Now gets it away for Washington. And a rare miss from way downtown, and that's how the first half comes to an end. But it felt like they hit every other three-pointer they tried.
It seemed like it. 11 of 18 from beyond the three-point arc for North Carolina. 11 of their 13 made field goals from beyond the arc. If you're Hubert Davis, you go in the locker room and you tell your team, hey guys, we did that. Let's not fall in love with it and know that this Florida.
18 from 3. Love and Davis have been marvelous in the backcourt, a combined 27.
The two in the backcourt have outscored Florida State by themselves, but Armando Bacot coming into the game needing 12 points to pass Michael Jordan to get the 14th on the all-time scoring list. At North Carolina, 0 points, but yet his team still holds an 18-point halftime lead.
He's going to start shooting threes.
This keeps up. But that's the 10th turnover for North Carolina in this game, and that's one like Pete Nance with the ball in his hands. I know what the play was called for was to see if they could get the back door, but it's not there. You've got to recognize it's not there. Go on to the second option of the play. That's the only thing that North Carolina's done poorly here this evening.
And yet leading 43-25. On the drive, Cleveland looked for the window but came up empty. Davis off to Love. Love with a bounce, gave it away. Another Carolina turnover. Worley through the lane for two.
And that's what Florida State's going to have to do. They're going to have to take advantage. If North Carolina's going to continue to turn the basketball over, they've got to take advantage of those opportunities. Now the 10th point off turnovers for the Seminoles.
This game might have been put away already by the Tar Heels if not for all the turnovers. Florida State 9-20. Got off to a dreadful start to their season, losing 9 of their first 10. Love in and out with a triple. And they were losing to teams like Stetson, Troy, Siena. That'll go down. A big three from Worley.
We mentioned the Virginia game, and North Carolina going 9 of 16 from the first half from 3. Virginia started the second half on Saturday on a 7-0 run, a 5-0 run right now for Florida State. And if they can get another stop here, they can truly build some momentum here on their home court.
Little give and go into the corner. Here's Black. Can't argue with the caliber of the look he got. He was wide open. Bills up top. Here's Gordon, and that's too long. Big freshman.
A make there would have gone a long way for Florida State. Sure, we would have seen a timeout from Hubert Davis had that gone down.
Armando underneath, blocked. Cleveland keeps it alive with the tap. Caleb Mills leans in. No. Wins the rebound. Up against Davis and draws the foul. He will be at the line. You know, Angel Gray was a big star here.
Absolutely.
Look at this. She's got her own fan session.
Hey.
Welcome back. Angel Gray. Once a star here, you're always a star here, Angel.
It's a very small piece of the puzzle. It's like the corner piece. You put that first and then everything else comes.
That's not true.
That's me. But it was fun. It's cool seeing the banners in the rafters, too, for those ACC regular season
titles. Yeah, that'd be a really
too.
nice feeling. How about the coaches now at halftime?
Well, I'll start with Carolina. Hubert Davis told me, first I asked him what contributed to his backcourt success. He said, Angel, honestly, we're not turning the ball over. He had 7 turnovers early, and he said he just made sure that his team understood attention to details, much what we heard in shoot-around. Him starting off this second half with 2 straight turnovers, he was visibly upset. He also said the message to his team, this team can come back. You already saw what they were doing for Miami. For Coach Ham, I simply said 11 threes. He shook his head. He said, they're making threes, we're missing layups, we have to be better.
And Angel, we've just seen the 3rd turnover of the second half for North Carolina on the offensive foul right now. A 12-point game, and you mentioned, of course, they can come back. We know that that's something that the Seminoles have in their arsenal.
That was on Nance, although he was pleading his case with Doug Sermons there. Batted away by Nance. He forces the turnover.
You know, it'll be one of the things that we also have to mention in Florida State's comeback win versus Miami. They only had 1 second half turnover, so they can't give the basketball back.
On the back down, Johnson got too close to the iron. He wasn't sure where he was. Mills will loft it up there and didn't touch a thing. Love coming off an outstanding half, so is his backcourt mate Davis.
Interesting to see Hubert Davis taking Armando Bacot out of the game early in the second half, getting Puff Johnson on the floor, and this is the team that was able to build that lead.
Nance, yes, on a triple. Brady Manick, anybody?
I'm sure there are a few people who will still be talking about Brady Manick, but Nance making them forget about Brady Manick over his last few games.
Rounded out by Green Jr. North Carolina back on top by 15. Davis, little fall away. 1 and done. Matthew Cleveland averaging 14 and 8. Will drive it. And the follow is up and good by Corin. 46-33 Carolina. Tar Heels can afford 0 slip-ups. Certainly on a night like tonight, and a block from behind, but a foul as well. And a whistle against the Seminoles. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Wendy's. 2 for $6, the best deal in fast food. Basketball is brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. Corey Alexander, Dave O'Brien back with you here at the Tuck in Tallahassee, 46-33 North Carolina.
And Obi, while we have a moment here, I would like to send my condolences from, of course, the ACC as well as the ESPN family to the Holland family. Of course, Terry Holland, the legendary coach at University of Virginia, passing away last night, and to Ann Michael and Kate, his family, our condolences, and of course a gentleman touched so many lives.
Yes, what a class act. You did not play for Coach Holland.
I did not play for Coach Holland. Had the opportunity to get to know Coach Holland a lot during his time as athletic director at the University of Virginia, and then of course once he returned after his stint as the athletic director at East Carolina. But a great man. You will not find anyone who has a negative word to say about that.
You didn't play for him, but Ralph did.
Yeah. He built quite a program there while I was growing up.
Yeah. Well, you were just a little guy. Head coach from 74 to 90 at Virginia. Cleveland airborne with a misfire. North Carolina looking to grab some momentum. They had plenty of that in the first half. Nance swooping into the lane, follows his own miss, kicks it out. Davis will swing it. Here's Love. Love working on Jackson. Boy, he went right at the freshman.
No pun intended here, but I love it. The fact that Caleb Love did not settle for a jump shot once again, gets downhill, puts the pressure on Florida State's defense to keep him out of the paint, and then doesn't over-penetrate, pulls up and gets the easy ball.
Jackson nearly left it behind. And get the feeling this is a breakaway zone for North Carolina. I was loving that right hand, but it won't drop for him. Loose ball. Right back to the Noles. And a foul in the lane. That'll go against Nance.
Caleb Love not settling, challenging Chandler Jackson to the rim. There's some contact, but that's okay because Caleb loves it. You see what I did there?
I signed, yeah. I'm sticking with you tonight. It's not an easy thing to do, by the way.
Oh, no, not easy at all. I get it. It's always a challenge.
Cleveland to shoot. And drops to the first one. By the way, working with Dickie V over the weekend, he's got this incredible thing coming up March 24th, Super 16 raffle. Get a chance to watch the NCAA tournament in Dickie V's home. You go to v.org/Super 16. It's all expenses paid. The trip to Sarasota, Florida, to Dickie V's home. Have dinner with the Vitals and get to watch the NCAA tournament for $100. That's all you got to go for the raffle ticket. An incredible bargain. And that's going to be Leaky Black on target. But what a great experience that is if you're lucky enough to do it.
Are employees able to
That's what
apply?
I keep asking. Like, I want in on that. Just $100. v.org/Super 16. Get in on that with the great Dick Vitale.
Amazing that Dickie V has made that his life's work. Of course, since 1979, he's been on our television screens. We've known him from everything college basketball. But what he does for childhood cancer is amazing that he's taken that on pediatric cancer.
Right.
I mean, from what he's done from that standpoint is amazing, and he's made that his life's work.
He's a cancer survivor in his own right, but he's been doing this for decades. Just a gigantic heart. In transition now, the Seminoles trying to cut in. With just under 13 minutes to go. Mills in the paint. Hesitation nicely done there for Caleb Mills in 2.
Mondo Baycott watching. Early exit here to start the second half. Averages 17 points per game, 4th in the ACC. And right now, Hubert Davis going without his star as his team is having success on the road.
Nance mid-range. He was open. 51-38 Carolina. Cleveland batted away. Good defense and recovery there by R.J. Davis. Got to the other end and deflected it.
We've seen that happen with R.J. Davis a number of times throughout this game, getting back defensively and deflecting the basketball as Baycott re-enters the game for Pete Nance. But Pete Nance doing a tremendous job at that 5 spot this evening. So much that Hubert Davis can afford to keep Baycott on the bench.
Armando, North Carolina's all-time leading rebounder, way downtown, off the back of the iron there by Green. Love with the kick. And it eventually does fall down for Johnson. That's the way the shooting night has gone from time to time for the men in blue.
And it's just been that type of evening for the Tar Heels, shooting the basketball from beyond the arc. But give Caleb Love a lot of credit once again, getting downhill, looking for his teammates, and now a turnover for the Noles.
Davis with the pass for Black and 2.
And Leaky Black was telling R.J. Davis, throw that one up, throw the lob in comparison to dropping it off. But either way, when you get the 2 points, it really doesn't matter.
Same result. 56-38. Green with a leaner. No. Baycott there for the rebound. Davis. Love going to be held up and fouled by Chandler Jackson. Stops the clock with 11:16 to go. North Carolina threatening to break away here in Tallahassee.
This point at 74 is a very interesting quote that he left everyone with. He said, I always tell my staff, if I don't come out at half and sit on the wrong bench, then I'm going to stay here. And rightfully so. The amount of history and accomplishments he has on his resume here in Tallahassee, he is a living legend.
And Angel, what has not been a traditional season for Leonard Hamilton, the success they've had as of late has really motivated him. He talked to us today. He told us how encouraged he was, how motivated he was to build this team to be a winner a season from now.
Nearly picked off there by Cleveland. Another long one coming for Carolina. They've been dynamite beyond the three-point line.
And Armando Bacot was what you would think normally shorthanded, had an offensive rebound, just unable to be able to gather that one in and get a chance for second chance points. But Bacot scoreless still in this game. And we're talking about the fourth leading scorer in the ACC who has not had his night offensively.
Well, Angel, you had a follow-up.
I think just looking at what you were talking about earlier, Corey, about what this team is made up of as far as the roster and the youth and the veterans on the team. Coach Ham said, listen, I'm just trying to get everything I can out of the roster now. They only have 3 players on this team right now that were on that 2021 team, and they're all walk-ons. So when you're looking at what he's been able to establish, he said, yes, I still want to make sure they understand we're playing for the future right now.
Love too strong. Bacot's up stronger. And that'll go back over to FSU. I know the reason why Leonard is super motivated about next year and the years to come. He's lying about his age. There's no way that man is 74 years old.
Or he's found the fountain of youth, which he doesn't want to share with the rest of us.
I wish he would. Stop hiding it. He looks like he's in great shape. Miller airborne. A lot of NBA scouts here to watch him perform tonight. This is the reason why basketball is my ministry. I love that quote.
Yeah, this is my calling to help young people fill their lives. He talked to us today about his coach at UT Martin, Lake Kelly, and the way that he would go about, caring for his kids. And that's the one thing that he gathered, and one thing he's taken with him his entire career as a coach is loving on his players, making sure they were good no matter what.
North Carolina did everything they needed to get off a good shot. Buck Johnson got off a good shot. Jackson hit the deck. He turns it over as well. Love as they run the break and a foul. Styles head of the line with 9:09 to go. You're seeing more of that here in the second half, that classic North Carolina transition basketball.
Well, North Carolina always wants to play fast, but part of that is being able to have the guys, even whether you score on them or they make a shot, get it out and run up and down the floor. They want to be able to get it out quickly.
Styles in and out. The 70th annual New York Life ACC tournament begins next Tuesday afternoon at Greensboro Coliseum. We have all 3 first-round games for you at 2, 4:30, and 7 Eastern on the ACC network and the ESPN app. You're going to be there. I'll be there.
Looking forward to it, my friend. And going into this year's ACC tournament, no clear-cut favorite to be able to cut down the nets in Greensboro, which makes it so exciting when you have so many teams coming in there that can have success.
But if I pressed you to make a decision on who you think will win it, who is it?
It'll either be, you ready for this?
Yeah.
Miami, Clemson, Virginia, NC State, Florida State, North Carolina, Duke. I mean, I can keep going. So many different teams have a chance to be able to get in the mix during the NCAA tournament, the ACC tournament, and just get hot and play their way in. Remember, Virginia Tech was, I believe, a 8 seed?
Yeah. What a run they made, and that's Miller, Baba Miller, the 6'11" freshman. And some performance minutes for those NBA scouts in the second half for the big. Under 8.5 to play. North Carolina 0 for their last 4 shooting it. After a red-hot first half beyond the three-point line where they made 11 out of 18. Shot clock at 4. Davis with a triple. And just not falling suddenly here.
Well, in typical North Carolina fashion, the second half they haven't shot the basketball as well from beyond the three-point arc. But still able to maintain the 13-point lead right now, a lot because Florida State has been turning the basketball over, and they have not been able to make the threes and the shots that they were able to make in their comeback versus Miami on Saturday.
Green Jr. with a quick 3 a moment ago. Couldn't find a range on that. His dribble. Shot clock to 4. Black off the fake. A 2-pointer coming. Tapped out, right back to Davis.
And that's one of the things that Armando Bacot has mastered. If he can't gather the basketball, he will tap it out to give his guys an opportunity to run it down and come up with second chance opportunity.
Carolina winding the clock down on the drive. Nicely done all the way to the cup by Davis. He's really been the star of this one for North Carolina.
He really has, and being aggressive, attacking downhill when the three-pointers aren't going has added to his game as well as Caleb Love.
One and done for Miller. Back to him though. Second opportunity. Worley, yes.
And you can see Florida State playing with a little more energy here in this second half, a little more effort, but just haven't been able to get over this hump. 13 is about as close they've been able to get it. Need to come up with a couple of defensive stops here in this last 6.5 minutes.
Back out for Davis. And again, he's going to burn some clock under 6.5 to play here in Tallahassee. Black from 3. Yes, sir.
It doesn't have to be the corner, Leaky. You can shoot from the wings. That's fine. He's showing off his ability to be able to knock down three-pointers from all over the arc, not just corner threes.
14 for him. That's double his average. Lofted up there by Mills. No. The turnaround and the whistle as well. As Corin got it to go, and he'll be at the line looking for a three-point play when we come back.
And we get an opportunity to go and check out a 5-year. R.J. Davis, who's been dealing with an injured finger for the last couple of months, reactivating that injury, going after a rebound. You see him favoring it on that right hand, that shooting hand, which has been an issue for him throughout this recent stretch. Finally finding his shooting stroke as of late, as the Tar Heels have knocked down a bunch of threes here in this game.
He's made 3 out of 7. And so has Caleb Love. They have 15 and 16 respectively. North Carolina's turnovers have kept Florida State somewhat in the game. Green goes airborne. And a whistle on the play with 5:41 to go and a foul against Carolina.
As we get an opportunity to see Kirsten Steinbacher, who is now in her 5th year as a manager for these North Carolina Tar Heels, graduate manager, using her COVID year to come back and be a part of it. I saw Kirsten earlier today and said, it seems like you've been here forever. And Armando Baycott, Caleb Love, all the guys turned around and said she has. She's been here longer than all of us. She actually was here for the last time Armando had a scoreless game, which was during his first year at North Carolina, his second game of his career against UNC Wilmington, and scoreless. That's the only time he's been scoreless his entire career as a Tar Heel.
He's spending a lot of time on the bench tonight. Some of that first half is a couple of fouls, but it's been a different looking Carolina team. It's going to be a foul against FSU on a reach by Baba Miller.
Yeah, and that is going to result as a, is it a technical foul or is it a flagrant foul? But when you touch someone out of bounds, so that will be free throws and the basketball for North Carolina.
Doug Sermon's coming over. So as Doug explains it, that's a flagrant 1. So foul shots coming. 2 shots in the ball. There's the reach in. So he's out of bounds.
Yeah, and thanks to Doug Sermon's coming over and letting us know by rule that is a flagrant 1 foul. So it will be 2 shots and the basketball back for North Carolina. And North Carolina still will have the ability to run the baseline. And again, this is just something, again, when you have players who come in from Europe, there are differences in the game. Baba Miller, you know, who missed the first 16 games of this season due to suspension, a little over-aggressive and just trying to be active, disrupting Leaky Black, makes contact, which ends up resulting in the flagrant 1 foul.
Yeah, I grew up on the Mediterranean island of Mallorca, 6'11" freshman.
Something about that sounds very nice. Growing up on a Mediterranean island. Yeah, that sounds pretty like a pretty good life.
Exactly. Under 5.5 left. This is a major swing potentially for North Carolina because Florida State was within striking distance. Here's Nance on the way. That could have gone a long way to burying the Seminoles.
It really could have. Could have been a 5-point possession for the Tar Heels.
Mills a dribble down, sticks it. Mid-range shot for 2.
But this has been the character of Florida State. Give them a lot of credit. They've continued to fight throughout this game. Haven't played well. Turnovers, you know, and haven't shot it great. But at the same time, they find themselves down 11, still just under 5 minutes remaining, and a chance to get back in to make this a game at down the stretch.
Nance to the paint. Off the side. He goes down. No whistle. Worley beating the big. Swooping in. Miller for 2. And then on out of it. Well, they're coming off an historic come-from-behind victory, shocking Miami when 25 down over the weekend to win at the buzzer. They've got this crowd into it. Love trying to silence them. Through the lane, but no. 64-55, and a reach and a foul by Davis. Are the Seminoles going to do it again? Another superhuman performance, maybe.
And the tuck is coming to line as Mike Bray would tell Leonard Hamilton about a gospel concert. It's some juice in here, baby.
Virginia. Jaron Holmes got to get it going. Last 3 losses, only 7 points, but last 3 wins, 18 points in those 3 wins. He's got to get it going. Back to OB, Corey, and Angel.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. I like that Fonzarelli.
Yeah, you know, of course, several coaches gonna have the great names, and you gotta have one for fun.
Worley at the line. I guess it doesn't need to be said, but North Carolina cannot afford to stumble against anybody, you know, with a couple of games left here in the regular season, let alone a team that's 9-20.
No, they cannot. Again, we talked about this game for North Carolina. Beating Florida State doesn't do much for you in your resume, but losing to them crushes your resume.
Yes.
And right now, a 7-point game, all the momentum is on the side of the Seminoles here, trying to make another historic comeback for their 2nd straight game.
Foul off the ball. Carolina's gone cold 2 for their last 11. T. Rowe Price need to know, with North Carolina leading 64-57. Talking about that resume. And finally a quad 1 win.
And we talked about North Carolina and their shoot-around this morning. Hubert Davis asking his team to pay attention to detail. And they were great at it in the first half outside of the 9 turnovers. But the second half, that attention to detail has not been there, and they have not made the 3-pointers to save them.
3:37 to play. Love can't get close. Bill sticking right to him. Shot clock to 3. Short. Rebound tip controlled by Caleb Mills. And FSU can make this even tighter. Green thought about a triple. 64-57. Mills over the top and up and in. 64-59. What is going on here in Tallahassee? We've got a ball game. Taken away by Mills in transition to Seminoles. Another one over the top, but a foul on the play. The lob for Worley and a whistle with 2:45 left.
This has been, in the second half, a monumental collapse thus far for North Carolina and Hubert Davis. And you have to know that right now, Hubert has talked to his team about Florida State coming back. It's in the minds of the Tar Heels right now. They're fighting that mentally, trying their best to make sure that they don't allow it to happen. But oftentimes, the things that you fear the worst, you allow them to manifest because of that. North Carolina playing very tentative right now.
Let's go to Angel.
Corey, going back to that shoot around. attention to detail, what Coach said to his team where he had stoppage of play. He said 1 turnover becomes 2, 2 becomes 3. A bad pass goes into the stands. We've seen that collapse mainly because they haven't been able to take care of the ball.
That's exactly it, Angel. And turnovers have been an issue as of late. And now Florida State cutting this lead to 4, trying to get another stop.
Davis on the drive, banks it in. They desperately needed that one.
They absolutely did. R.J. Davis has made big shots for the Heels all evening long and comes up with a huge one there.
And Carolina hang on the road tonight in the ACC. Cleveland, great move there on the baseline. He has been the Noles' best player all season long.
And I like Matthew Cleveland recognizing that's a mismatch. It's difficult for Armando Bacot to try to guard him out on the wing.
Well, many in the crowd on their feet here with 1:50 to go. Seminoles storming back as they did against Miami on Saturday, although a gigantic deficit in that one. Bacot coming up. Davis wants the ball again. Here's Black off the fake, takes it, slams it! And what a dunk! Wow! That's emphatic. Green spins way short. A scrap for it. It comes right back to Bacot. That rim is still rattling. That might be for half an hour.
Be fair to say that that rim may have a leak in it at this point.
68-62. He's had a big night with 18 and 9. Under a minute. Carolina bleeding some clock. Davis pulls up. And yes, a nice roll. He's hit a couple of big shots.
He absolutely has. And again, Hubert Davis is comfortable with the basketball in his hands. Late game situation.
Cleveland's got to get a shot in the air. Over Nance. That misfires. And a foul on the deck. With 39.9 to go. Back up to an 8-point advantage for North Carolina. Davis got to be exhausted.
The pump fake. The attack.
Oh.
Leaky getting freaky with it.
Oh my.
You talk about point of emphasis and the bench loving it. That possibly is a season-saving play for North Carolina.
Could well be.
Leaky Black's attacking of the basket, not settling for a jump shot. And this is something that they've asked Leaky Black to do for 5 years at North Carolina. Be aggressive. He has the ball handling ability. He has the size to be able to attack, as our officials are going over to look at some of the extracurricular action that happened after the foul with R.J. Davis on the ground.
R.J. Davis, yep. There's your reset. North Carolina, no fouls to give. Still a lot of timeouts available, 3 apiece. And FSU has the possession arrow. And Doug Sermons will let us know exactly what they were looking at with 39.9 left.
So the first foul is going to be on R.J. Davis, and you see Davis pushing Deontay Green, trying to get him, but there will be no extracurricular. There's nothing else outside of that. Great officiating by this crew. Kip Kitchener, Keith Kimball, Doug Sermons on the call. Clean game for this group.
They really have Deontay Green at the line. And that one catches a lot of iron. Batted away, controlled by Carolina. Seminoles fouling. 38.4 to go. And coming up next over on ESPN, we'll take you to Stillwater. Number 9 Baylor squaring off against Oklahoma State. Baylor coming off a really nice win against Texas at home over the weekend. So North Carolina to put it in. And trying to hang on and get a win they absolutely must have. Love, they're trying to trap him. He's trying to get away. And they're going to take a timeout. North Carolina with a timeout. 27.7. So we will take the break as well. 70-62. North. Leaky Black showing up in a big way here with 18 points. That ties his career high.
And he's done the job defensively all season long, but has some timely offensive games as well. And the more aggressive he is offensively, especially looking for those threes, I think it makes this North Carolina team even better.
He's done something to behold. And again, a whistle with 26.1 to go.
And a 1-and-1 for Armando Bacot, who is scoreless in this game. And I'm sure anyone tuning in would be surprised to hear that if they're tuning in late, to hear that the fourth leading scorer in the ACC has not scored a point. Opportunity for him to scratch here at the free throw line.
17 points on average for Bacot. And drops in the first one. Leonard's going, you know, we almost held him scoreless tonight, which is a feat. 71-62. Thinking back to that dunk by Black. Some dunks are worth more than others. They just are. That should have been worth about 3 points. And a foul as they wrap up Nance. And he'll be at the line for a 1-and-1. 25 seconds to play, and a bunch of fans are heading for the exits here in Tallahassee.
These fans were treated to a nice comeback attempt by the Seminoles. Just got down so big in the first half, but you've got to take your hat off to Leonard Hamilton and his staff for the way they continue to coach these guys up. They continue to play 40 minutes. Not going to let up the entire game.
All fair to say and totally agree, but with a loss, they're 9-21. If you're North Carolina, under any circumstances, you cannot slip coming here on the drive. Bills will lay it in.
Well, at this point of the season in college basketball, we know the terminology, survive and advance.
True
at
enough.
The end of the day, for North Carolina, as long as they win by 1 point, that's what matters most. And Hubert Davis, of course, won't be happy with the way that his team finished the game down the stretch, but he will be happy if they're able to walk away from the Donald L. Tucker Center with the win.
Right. Survive and advance. They did it so brilliantly in the NCAA tournament, all the way to the national championship game.
Absolutely. And again, this is a team that returned 4 starters from the national championship runner-up team a year ago. The expectations were so high. Hubert Davis has made it clear, this is not the same team. This is not last year's team. This is a completely new team. And this team, with a win here tonight, continues the chance to fight on and see if they can get into the NCAA tournament. Big matchup coming for them Saturday, senior night in Chapel Hill, with the rival Duke Blue Devils coming in.
You're not lying. 18 seconds left in this one. 73-64, the Tar Heels. Game day, of course, will be there for Duke and Carolina. Always seems to be something huge on the line. Boy, Duke's playing exceptionally well. Nance is fouled on the play. North Carolina, good foul shooting team.
A big matchup for Duke coming up tomorrow night. NC State coming into the building after that loss at home to the Clemson Tigers. And you know the Wolfpack will be hungry, but as you mentioned, the Blue Devils playing much better down the stretch, getting healthy, and their freshmen are starting to grow up.
Well, Pete Nance, a good night as well. 6'11" Brad. So anything new, do you think, out of Joey Brackets after this game tonight?
I think he'll simply say they won a game that they had to win to get them to the game on Saturday. You know, now after losing to North Carolina State, it was pretty much written in stone. North Carolina had to finish out. They had to win out to have a chance at the at-large bid if they don't win the ACC tournament. And they've won 3 straight at this point.
Bills with a drive and stuff. A little under 9 seconds to play. Seminoles still playing defense, and they will tie up Nance again. And he will march to the other end. Good foul shooter at 81%. So looking like FSU will drop to 9-21, 7-12 in the conference. Could not follow up what they did over the weekend. Ridiculous come from behind, 25 down against Miami, which was, by the way, the largest comeback in the history of this conference. Nance coming off 22 against Virginia. No question, he is stepping up his play another level.
He really has, and again, a guy that I think will be very important for them on Saturday versus the Duke Blue Devils, because he can space the floor and, of course, very comfortable shooting the three at home, playing his best basketball of the season. And I'm going to go out on the limb and say, no way possible Armando Bacot only has 1 point on Saturday on his senior night.
Green's three at the horn won't go, and here's your final. North Carolina survived a late storm there by the Seminoles to pull it off 77-66.
They absolutely did. Survive is the right terminology for that.
Our Capital One rewarding performance tonight.
And we'll call it the 3 Ds of